Professionals client.
And
Los Angeles.
We're on. Hello, this is Tiffany Shlain, and I am live here from San Francisco from the headquarters of 50/50 Day. We are having over 11,000 screenings and discussion events in all 50 states and 65 countries. Those of you that are at events, please Facebook Live, hashtag getting to 50/50. If you have questions for the fabulous next speaker, so excited, comedian and activist Margaret Cho, use the hashtag getting to 50/50 and we'll get it in. And I am now going to introduce you officially. Margaret, I am going to read your bio, and you are a comedian, actor, writer, musician, LGBTQ activist. Your television work includes All American Girl, 30 Rock, and Drop Dead Diva. You're the author of I'm the One That I Want, and I've Chosen to Stand Fight. And your 2016 album, American Myth, was nominated for a Grammy Award. Welcome to 50/50 Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to talk to you about comedy in progress, because I've seen your live shows, from San Francisco, so have always loved your work. And I think comedy is definitely a way to open up issues that are uncomfortable in society. And how do you feel like it's changed the issues around just around gender and comedy and where we are today?
Well, comedy is a very male-dominated field, and so for women to succeed, they have to be exceptional, and that's something that I've known ever since I started doing it, and even before. And I think a lot of it has to do with us having to really be creative and self-supporting, congratulating, self-validating. It's like we exist kind of in a vacuum all on our own, and we're always working and always trying to move forward. And with men in comedy, there's a real community around them. All of their successes have become this sort of successes of their tribe, and we don't have that. We don't have that same sort of supportive network, and so it's very hard for women to sustain themselves in comedy, grow, change, create more, and so to be able to do that on our own, we have to be so good at it. And so this is similar to what happens in any other industry that is male-dominated. When women try to achieve things in there, they often don't have that sort of supportive community around them of men that the men do. So it's doubly hard. And so I think that when women are successful comedians, it's not only incredibly deserved, but they are really an exception, because that sort of male domination can get in your head, and you experience sexism within. That's actually the hardest glass ceiling to shatter, is those barriers we put within our own mind of what we can do and what we can achieve.
Yeah, resonating with so many things you said, just about having to put yourself out there and validate your own work. But one thing I was interested in is, do you feel like that since you started in stand-up, I guess it feels like from the outside that there's a much bigger pool of female comedians that are doing amazing work. And do you feel more of a sense of community now, or that there's more of you? Or
yeah, there's definitely more. There's definitely more women in comedy. There's definitely more women being very exceptional, incredibly successful. And that's the thing about the work in general, is that women comedians often are much more successful. They're much more of a sense of excitement around their fame and their celebrity, because it's so hard won, and because we have to be so exceptional to get there. So often the women have no peers. We're like, that men can't even compete with the specialness and the success of a female comedian when we do get there.
Well, I love the way that you've channeled all of your thoughts and anger and frustration into comedy, and now with music. And one of your songs included a really powerful song, which is "I Want to Kill My Rapist." And can you talk a little bit about the process of creating that and wanting to put that out there and the reaction to it?
Well, I think it's really important to create work that resonates with you. My music is different from my comedy. It's not the same thing. I definitely get to do things in comedy and do things in music that are very different. And coming at it from both ways, if you're talking about things that are difficult for people to really think about or talk about, like rape and sexual assault, abuse, and often like we come at it as a society from a place of like honoring the victim, which I think is very valid and important, which is, you know, like the Lady Gaga song, "Till It Happens to You," that kind of attitude. But I wanted to come at it from a different perspective of like, you know, yeah, this did happen to me, and I'm not going to stay silent about it. I'm not going to stay in the suffering of it. I want to do something to really get out of that, you know, whether it's like a revenge. It's a classic kind of film trope, is sort of that rape revenge sort of like scenario, but I actually love that kind of thing. To me, it's very, you know, empowering. And, you know, we're often told that we have to forgive our abusers and we have to forgive people because it helps us. And I don't know how that helps us. I don't really get that part. So to me, it's fun to actually use rage as a tool to heal. And I feel like that's one of the things that I loved in the 90s about like a lot of female musicians like Courtney Love. You know, people were very critical of her, and, you know, yet there was this incredible like thing that you wanted to get close to that fire, and I definitely still do. You know, I love that fire.
Well, I've read that, you know, Joan Rivers was important to you, and in the film 50/50 we talk a lot about mentorship, both male and female, and how important that is to kind of move it all forward, get to 50/50, which is the goal of this day, is to help move the conversation forward. And so do you talk to us a little bit about mentors in your life? I mean, do you feel like you've had them?
Yeah, definitely. Well, comedy also is a kind of an art form that requires mentoring, and you know, it's definitely there. I mean, I was helped along by so many female comedians, but most, I think, profoundly by Joan Rivers. I think also just by watching her as a kid, watching her on TV, being so funny and so raunchy. Like, I didn't even understand what it was when I was young. And then when I met her, and she kind of took me under her wing, and you know, we were friends for a long, long time. And then to be able to see her perform, like, she just blew me away. Even she's like, I think when I started going to her shows, she was probably 60. So, like, it was just phenomenal to see a woman in her 60s being so raw and strong and hard, and you know, she encouraged me a lot in her life. You know, she was very, very, very supportive. So I love that, and I love that I got a chance to have her as a mentor.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things with the film and that I was really exploring is kind of where are we on that arc, you know, and sometimes it feels like we're moving forward, sometimes it feels like we're being dragged backwards, and I definitely have been feeling like there's a sense that people are doubling down on pushing hard right now for gender equality, which is great. I mean, we need it, we need the excitement, we need the energy. But what is your sense of where we are? I mean, it's such a kind of interesting time. That's the adjective I shall use. What is your sense about where we are?
We're in a time where, okay, if you just look at the presidential election, this country refused to elect literally the most qualified candidate in history. There's never been a more qualified candidate than Hillary Clinton, ever. Yet they decided to vote in a man who has never even been mayor. He's never even been he's never held any even like city government office, small town government office, nothing. There's nothing to qualify him for the most important job in the world. And yet we rejected as a society the most qualified person who happened to be a woman. I think the only reason that she was rejected was because she was a woman. And it's a really scary thing. However, what we do have are tools for revolution. We have social media. We have our voices. We have the strength in numbers. And so, you know, this is the kind of thing where society turns around for the better. And I hope to see so much more. You know, it's a bitter defeat, but it's also a strange reality check too. Like, yes, we really can't deny that sexism is alive and well and just as strong now as it ever was. And so,
well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. We actually got a question from the online audience because we have over 11,000 events happening and people are having them at different times. People are tuning in online. And Lisa Hart from our audience wants to ask you, do you think rape culture is just too ingrained in our culture and society to move forward?
It is, no, it's not too ingrained. What it is that you have people expressing their shock and dismay of like, well, why are people even talking about this? The uncomfortability of addressing it is where we need to kind of attack. You know, there was a lot of talk about when the Bill Cosby scandal broke and the rape sort of became very, very like something that everybody was talking about. A lot of the people that were criticizing these women who were coming forward were saying, well, why are they saying anything now?
Right.
Why did they wait so long to say something? And it's like, it's not possible sometimes to talk about what was happening, and they couldn't because the culture was so different when it actually happened that it wouldn't have been possible to come forward and, you know, and endure all of that scrutiny, the questioning, the incredible hostility. You know, you can't do that, but they found strength in numbers, and that's one of the reasons why it was so important for this story to come forward. And now pretty much that story is, I don't really know what's happening with it. You know, it's sort of gone away. And I think that there's people not wanting to talk about it, not wanting to hear about it. And because of that, we strengthen rape culture. In silence and shame, we feed that beast, and you've got to stop doing that.
Yes, I'm into that. So I think I'm going to ask you one last question before you go. And it's just, what gives you hope right now? Are there things that, oh, good, you lit up.
Everything. There's so much great hope, so much great stuff happening. You know, what's exciting is that we have art, we have ourselves. I mean, I started doing comedy in the Reagan era. I know what it's like to have a difficult president. We've been through something like this, not exactly like this, but you know, we have experience, whether it was Reagan, whether it was Bush #1, Bush #2. You know, it's a lot of things. So we have each other, and we have activism, we have social media, and we have our voices. It's really great.
Thank you. That was a beautiful close. And thank you. We have you. I think, you know, I'm an optimistic person, but my husband and I like to say we're opticists because we're optimistic, grounded in a healthy dose of skepticism. And it kind of grounds us, but it's like we keep on. I just feel like we have to double down right now and just push forward to get to 50-50. And your work is absolutely pushing forward. I've always loved your work in comedy and now with music. And so thank you for being a courageous artist, and really happy to have you as a part of 50-50 Day. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks.